Chess is a very popular game. You have a chess set and you want to play it properly. How can you? By the end of today, you can play a chess game with all of the basic beginner stuff I'll tell you today. If you want to step it up, like getting tips to win and other expert stuff, sorry, these aren't really in our video today. Anyway, a chessboard is 8 by 8, having 64 squares, black and white alternated. There are 32 characters of pieces in a chess game too, 16 on each team. 16 are white, 16 are black. By the way, whenever I say black and white, it means dark and light. So if your chessboard has red and pink, green and yellow, or mine, brown and black, the lighter color is white and the darker color is black. Brown is lighter than black, pink is lighter than red, and so on. Now before we see the pieces in chess, remember these important tips when playing a chess game. 1. The white square in the corner of the chessboard should always be on the player's right. And number 2, the white team always goes first, even if your other player begs you to be first. By the way, this is a 2-player game if you haven't noticed yet. One player is one team, and another player is the other team. Anyway, let's go. Pieces in chess. Start with black or white pieces, I don't care. Anyway, let's see them. First, we have 2 rooks. They can go on the corners like this. 2 rooks in each team, so 4 rooks in total. Rooks look like castles, but they can't jump over pieces. Every other chess piece can't jump over things either, except the knight, our next chess piece. They look like horses and go right next to rooks, so 2 in each team. Now we have bishops. If you're saying that they are called elephants, you're correct as well. Anyway, bishops, aka elephants, have that little cut on their heads. They look like this probably, and they're beside the knights, so 2 in each team again. Now let's identify the 1 king and 1 queen. The king is taller than the queen. They should be bigger than every other piece in the team. Now to place the queen, see the color of it. The white queen is placed on a white square in that first row. And if you have a black queen, black square, then you put the king beside the queen. Now you need to do one more thing now. Move to the row in front of you, the second row, and put 8 pawns. They should definitely look like this. Now to get enough knowledge to play chess, we need to see each piece in more detail and learn some more things. Let's start with the pawns. Pawns move 1 square at a time, but on its first move, it can move 1 or 2 squares. After that, only 1 square at a time. Also, pawns only move forwards, no backwards, only forwards. Pawns capture pieces diagonally, left or right, like this, or this. Other pieces in the game capture pieces in the way they move, so pawns are special. The pawn cannot jump over pieces. There are 3 more things about pawns. First, if pawns are face to face, they can't move until a pawn captures another pawn passing by. Second, if a pawn gets to the other side of the board, it can turn into a queen, rook, bishop, elephant, or knight on your team. The queen is powerful, as you will learn soon, so you can choose that. Also, if you need to show that your pawn has promoted, that's the word if it's been turned into. You can show it by getting a piece from another chess set or use some paper. And finally, there is a rule with pawns if you would like to add it. It's called in passant, in passing. translating in English. If a pawn makes its first move 2 squares instead of 1 when an enemy pawn had a chance to capture it, see it here, the enemy pawn has to capture the pawn and take the pawn's place in the square where it could have been captured without this rule. Rooks. In castling, it's important for rooks. Anyway, rooks can move any number of squares forward, backward, or side to side. In other words, it can move any direction except diagonally. Rooks attack in the same way they move. Rooks can't jump except when it castles. Let's see castling. It happens when a king and 1 rook haven't moved yet. It's when the king moved 2 cleared out spaces towards the rook, and then makes the rook move 2 squares too. That means the rook jumps over the king. It works if they are 2 squares away. If they are 3 squares away, do the same except the rook moves 3 squares instead. Now let's see times where it looks like you could castle but can't. It's basically when the king is going to be checked. Check means a threat to defeat the king. It'll make sense once we learn about the king. When kings castle, their new spot might get them in check. Or when they could get checked by moving 1 square, but decides to castle and make it moving 2 squares. That's not allowed. The king only moves 1 square, by the way. And the king can't castle to escape being checked already. The knights move in a special way. They move in an L shape. That means that it moves 2 squares up, down, left, or right, and then moves left or right 1 square. Here are all of the possible ways a knight can move. The way knights capture is the same way they move. Also, they are the only pieces that can jump, so if they are in the crowd, they can still attack. The bishops, we'll call them that way for the rest of this video, because you can also call them elephants, move diagonally. It can move any number of squares diagonally. It can attack other pieces, and they do that in the same way they move. Bishops can't jump. This was a short one, wasn't it? How the queen moves is like the combination of a rook and bishop. Basically, it can move any direction. The queen is the strongest piece in chess. The queen can attack at most 1 of 27 squares. That's almost half of the board. The queen attacks the same way it moves and can't jump. Now get ready for a long chapter. The king. It's an important piece in chess. We need to learn about check and checkmate. You might already know that from castling. Okay, maybe not all of it. Anyway, the king can move to any square, 1 square at a time. Yeah, it's weak. It can't jump. This would have been a short chapter without check and checkmate, so yeah. Checkmate's the goal of chess. Checkmate is when the king can't escape from attack or check. Check is when a chess piece threatens attack on the other team's king. Also, one more thing. When you have the other piece's king in check, say check. As bonus, say checkmate in pride and happiness when you won the game. Final tips on chess. So, you're almost done learning the basic stuff in chess to actually play a chess game. But you need to know some more things. Ready? Here we go. 1. To mark the position of a piece in chess, mark your chessboard rows in letters from A to H, like this. And from 4 columns, mark them 1 to 8 like this. 2. To win a game, I would highly recommend you to capture pieces and think hard. Chess makes you use your brain after all. 3. To protect your king, avoid your other teammate's queen and use pawns to protect this king. 4. You're all done chess, but for future tutorials on tips in chess, you might not see real-life pictures, so let me help you. Light colors white, darker colors black, okay? You won't see actual white chess pieces because paper's white, so yeah. This is a king, it stands for K. This is a queen, it stands for Q. This is a rook, it stands for R. This is a knight, it stands for N. The king already has K. This is a bishop, it stands for B. And this is a pawn, it has no letter. It just makes life easier. You'll see once you move on to being an expert. But now you know the basics of chess. Yay, like, subscribe, share, and bye.